Hello everyone, welcome to the ITLS Academy. Today we are going to discuss the topic that is your management tools. In management tools, the first topic is your total quality management. Okay, so this total quality management are also known as a TQM, that is total quality management. This scheme is used to address the approach that a manufacturing organization needs to take to ensure a product quality. Okay, this TQM scheme are addresses by the manufacturing unit, or you can say that manufacturing organization. Why the requirement of TQM? This TQM is neat so that the manufacturer ensure that the product that are produced in their unit are have a good quality. They have a aim to involve every member of the organization in the achievement of the management objective to produce a safe, wholesome food, enhance the customer satisfaction and confidence. See, in TQM, what they do, there is a main aim that every member of that particular organization are involved in this TQM. When every person involved in this TQM, they will achieve a management objective, and they produces a safe or wholesome food and also enhance the satisfaction level of the customer and the confidence of that customer, and also identify means of ongoing improvement. The fundamental requirement of the TQM approach is communication at all level. The main the fundamental requirement, or you can say that the main requirement of the TQM is that they approach a good communication at all the level, uh, and also ensure that the process and the product requirement can be translated from the corporate quality statement to the operative running the process. Now the next is your TQM scheme, embracing the HACCP and document control form an important framework within which quality requirement can be communicated. HACCP is what? We all know that HACCP is a hazard analysis critical control point. It is what? It is a HACCP. Effectively and in a way that can be demonstrated and audited. This TQM scheme also embeds the HACCP and also control the various documents, which is essential for the framework of the company, and even also ensure that the quality requirement of that particular industry and that quality requirement are also communicated in a way that it will demonstrate it to each level and also used during the audit. Now the next is your, this is your total quality management plan, or you can say that total quality management scheme. It is what? It is a long-term managerial strategy. It involves two things. The first is your quality system. This quality system is according to the ISO 9000 series, and the second is your quality management. Quality management involves two processes. The first one is your product process specific requirement, and the second is your generic requirement. Okay, in product process specific requirement, HACCP plans are there, food safety are involved, the quality of the food product are involved, and even the audits are involved. See, audits are simply means that they ensure that the quality of the food does not compromise. Okay, in generic requirement, There is a guidelines related to the GMP, that is your good manufacturing practices, GHP, that is your good hygienic practices. And quality system involve our documentation, and this documentation are again related to the HACCP plan, food safety and quality audit. Now come to the next slide. The first one is your quality system. Quality system is according to a ISO 900, sorry, ISO 9000. In 1994, quality system and associated standard in the ISO 9000 series, that series is 9001 and 9002, are widely recognized as a documentation system which are applicable to the food manufacturer. In food manufacture, the ISO standard that is used for a documentation system, they are what? They are a 9000 ISO 9001 or 9002. They come under the series of 9000. The main scope of this standard call for the development of control issue document. Okay, so the document should be control. The document that are issued should be what? They are control, and also covered the business quality policy and the management structure, and also responsibility training program and corrective and remedial action. See, this is your business quality policy, management structure, responsibility training program, corrective and remedial action. They are come under the category of control issue document that are ultimately controlled according to the ISO 9000, and also establish the process control parameters so that it will meet a product quality requirement. Okay, when a process control parameter are established, then ultimately they maintain a product quality requirement, and also used for the recording and review which are related to the programs. This type of qualities that we discussed above, such quality systems are therefore an ideal vehicles for the control of all the quality which are related in terms of the documentation, that includes a HACCP plan, and also related to monitoring the system, verification of the system, together with the amendment introduced which give a result of HACCP review. Now the next is your quality system also permit a transparent or translation of HACCP control measure. Okay, see, this quality system also give a permit, and this permit are related to the HACCP control. Okay, and they give a transparent or a translation HACCP control measure, and also give a critical limit into a specific process, instruction, record sheet, respectively. This interrelationship between the ISO style quality system and the HACCP plan, they form a basis for a HACCP based audit related to the process. Now the next is your quality management. Okay, the first thing that we discuss is about the quality process. Now the next is your quality management. In quality management, the first one is your generic requirement. Okay, so in generic requirement, the microbiological quality and safety of food depend, and they are depend upon our two main factor, that is your management of the hygiene and the manufacturing and the handling of the environment. Okay, the first thing, that is your manufacture and the handling in the environment, they introduce the basic standard for the hygiene. What they said, they set up basic system for the hygiene. We all know that this if the hygiene are not properly maintained, okay, if the hygiene are not properly maintained, that means that the microbial contamination will occur. That's why we have to maintain the this basic sorry we have to maintain the hygiene. The next is your management of the hygiene. Okay, the management of the hygiene is a broad scope, and it is addressed through a different guidelines which are related to a good hygiene practices, and it is totally focused on the particular type of the food product and also focus the community under such type of the consideration. Now see the first point that is written in the slide: manufacture and handling in an environment that meet a basic standard for a hygiene. The next point is your the management of hygiene. This requirement has a broad scope and is the best addressed through a guidelines for a good hygiene practices which are focused on the particular product or community under the consideration. Now the next is your the scope of these guidelines should include a following heading and address the objective summarize. Okay, so these guidelines are related to the hygiene. Okay, so these headings should be involved and also the objective or involved. The first one is your primary production. Okay, in primary production, the different hazards are controlled which are related to the process and the product under the consideration. Okay, in primary production, what they do, the hazard which are related to the process and product, it should be control. Now the next is your site location. In site location, avoidance of the external sources of the contamination. Okay, so extra sources of the contamination should be avoided and that are hazard to the process and product. Okay, if that external sources of the contamination which become the hazard uh, during the process of the particular food or during the outcome or during the or at that particular type of the product, they should be avoided. The next is your design and layout. Provision of advocate space for all the process stage with a layout which prevent a cross contamination between the process stages. The next is your building fabric. Okay, so that is very clear that the design of the building or the maintenance of the building is according to that they will prevent the contamination. They will prevent the external contamination and also minimize the contamination which are occurred during that build up and that type of the and the design is according to that can easily clean. Okay, so see what is written here: design and maintenance to prevent increase of external contamination, internal surfaces that minimize soiling and contamination buildup and are easily cleaned. Now the next is your equipments. Okay, again the equipment which are used for food production or which are used for the for the processing, they are what they have to do. They are designed according to that they will minimize the accumulation of that food product into it, or the design or the construction of that equipment is that they should clean very easily. Design and construction to minimize accumulation of food material and easy cleaning. Waste disposal. Provision of segregated container system for the collection and continual removal from the production areas in order to prevent a contamination build up across contamination. See, the waste which are produced inside the premises should be continuously removed from that particular area where the food production are occur. If it is not done, then it will cause a cross contamination. So for the prevention of that contamination which are occur due to that cross contamination, we have to segregate that collection, or you can say that we have to continue remove that waste from that food area. The next is your water supply. Provision of potable water for all food contact which are uses including a product formulation, food washing, cleaning of food contact surfaces so that it will prevent a recontamination. Okay, the in water supply, the first point is that related to a potable water. This potable water should be used for all type of the food contact surfaces, which is used for a food, either product formulation, food washing, cleaning of the food contact surface area. Each and everything should be which are related to the food contact. In that areas we have to use a potable water, so that it will prevent a recontamination. The next is your provision of microbiological potable water for cooling purpose, that is your plate heat exchanger, tank, jacket, so that it will prevent a recontamination. Complete segregation and identification of the non-potable water. Okay, so if there is a non-potable water present in the area, it should be complete, segregate and identify. Now the next is your drainage. Drainage are designed or construct according to that the flow which are produced inside the premises are, or which carry a dirty areas, they will clean properly, and they have a sufficient capacity so that it will avoid a backup or under a heaviest loading condition. Now see, designed and constructed to flow from clean to dirty areas and have a sufficient capacity to avoid a backup under a heaviest loading condition. Cleaning, provision of facilities for the cleaning of utensils and the equipments and factory environment that avoid a product contamination or cross contamination between the process stages. Okay, so we have to avoid a facility. We have there is a proper facility for the cleaning of the utensil and the equipment and also the factory environment, so that it will avoid a product contamination or cross contamination during the process stages. For cleaning place, that is also called a CIP system. They are designed and maintenance should ensure a specified detergent strength, temperature and flow rate throughout the system. Design and operation of CIP system so that it will avoid a cross contamination between the raw food and the processed food duties. The next is your personal. There is the provision should have a changing room, toilets and suitably located hand washing facilities, so that it will avoid a contamination which occur inside the food product. Application of food hygiene training appropriate to the process requirement. Okay, so food hygiene training should also given um, to the person who are working inside the process, or according to the process requirement, the training of the hygiene should be given to the person. Now the next is your air quality. Okay, now air quality, they are design and operation of ventilation system. In air quality, there are 2 points. One is your design and operation of ventilation system, and the second is your filtration of air that impinging directly onto the food product. Okay, so in first one, that is your prevent and operation of ventilation system. The first point is that it will prevent a condensation on the surface, which might be product contamination sources, either directly or via a aerosol droplets. It also minimizes the airborne contamination, direct airflow from the clean to the dirty areas, control ambient temperature, control odor transfer. Now the next is your filtration of air that impinges directly onto the food, that is your drying air, compressed air. So to standard that it will prevent a product contamination, storage areas, provision of adequate facilities for the storage of the food, that included a food ingredient and the packaging, Non-food material, that included a cleaning material, lubricate, engineering spares. Now the next is your pest control, application of control program and monitoring so that it will prevent the access or harborage of the pest. Foreign body control, application of control program so that it will monitor, so that the risk of the foreign body contamination inside the food product decreases. Now this foreign body, that is your glass like plastic, metals or other debris of in foreign body contamination. That means that the contamination which are occur due to the each and every thing which are not the part of the food product. Now the next is your personal hygiene. Personal hygiene and transportation. Now, and last is your recall procedure. Now, in personal hygiene, application of procedure and guidelines for the health screening, sickness and injury, reporting, personal behavior, and also use of the designated protective clothing so that it will prevent the contamination of the food and food contact surface area. The next is your training, provision of training of all the food handlers which cover food hygiene requirement and related process requirement so that it will prevent a food contamination. The next is your transportation, application of packaging and warehouse transport condition that will prevent a recontamination of food and maintain a required temperature regime. The next is your recall procedure, maintenance of record and procedure that enable the identification and recovery of any unacceptable product for the investigation and the disposal. Now the next is your control process. The main objective of the control process is that it will reduce the risk of unsafe and unacceptable food reaches to the consumer. In control process, what they do, the main object is that they will reduces the chances or risk of unsafe or unacceptable. What is the unsafe or unacceptable food? Which does not fulfill the proper food hygiene requirement or proper food conditioning. So it will stop to reaching the consumer by taking a preventive measure to control a hazard and appropriate stages in the process. This is in effective the objective of the HACCP program. The next is your barrier hygiene. Barrier hygiene control the area of GMP, GHP. GMP means that good manufacturing practices, and GHP is your good hygiene practices. They are not fully covered in a generic templates is the requirement for handling designated high risk food. The general principle of food hygiene and document to outline the need for the enhanced precaution where risks are high. But it is important that the relevant control measures are understood and they are considered in the development of the GMP and GHP codes of the practices. Now the next is your high risk food are defined as those food which are handled or exposed to the environment after any bactericidal process and before the wrapping. Suppose that some food are come in contact with the some harmful bacteria. Now now they are handled or these type of the food are handled or exposed to the environment, or the food which are come in contact with the environment before the wrapping, that is called a high risk food. High risk food are also defined as those food which can support the growth or survival of the relevant pathogens at a level of hazardous to the consumer and also support the growth of the spoilage microorganism. We all know that there are the two type of the microorganism. One is your pathogen and another one is your spoilage. Okay, so high risk food have both type of the high risk food support both type of the microorganism, that is your pathogens and and spoilage, and cause a hazard when a spoilage microorganism do a undesirable change within the design and the shelf life of the product decreases or affect the shelf life of the product. This The next is your high risk food can also be defined as those type of the food which are designed to be eaten without the further cooking. Okay, so high risk of food we does not required for a further cooking. That type of the food are also come under the category of high risk food. Now the next is your high risk food, that is your some dairy dessert are at risk from cross contamination from other process areas, environmental contamination and transfer of relevant microorganism from the personal. They should be handled in a segregate production areas in addition to the general hygiene requirement, which have the following enhanced provision. The first thing, the designated high-risk production area should be separated from all other process area by a permanent barrier. Okay, so the area at which the high-risk food products are produced, that area should be completely separated from the other type of the area in which the food are produces, and it can be separated by a permanent barrier. Drainage should be suitably trapped and direct to the main drain with no possibility of the back flooding. Okay, the drainage which are present in that area, they are what they are properly trapped and it will open directly into a main drain without the possibility of any back flooding. Drainage from the other area should not transit the high risk area. Floor, wall, ceiling and all fittings should be designed and maintained so that it will prevent the accumulation of the soiling and it can easily clean and sanitize. The air supply to the high risk room should be filtered so that it will remove a relevant type of the microorganism and also maintain the room at a positive pressure and should be supply at a sufficient rate at a appropriate humidity so that it will prevent a condensation on all type of the surface at all time. There should be a dedicated equipment, utensil and tools which are used in that area. They are properly clean and they should not be used in other areas. Cleaning equipment should be dedicated to the high risk areas with color or other coding to assist the supervision. Even the cleaning equipment which are used in that areas, they are color coded so that it will assist by a supervision. Material brought into a high risk area should be handled in a way that it will prevent the transfer of the contamination. Control measures should be used for considering it, which include the removal of the outer packaging in an annex with the material moved into the designated area through a restricted access using a sanitizer dips if they are appropriate. Example, can or seal plastic packaging. Trucks and trolleys which are used for in that areas, they are dedicated to particular the designated areas and a particularly attention should be paid to build up of contamination on wheel and under a frame. Now the next is your personnel should change from general factory clothing into specific high risk protective clothing and footwear. At the access to the high risk areas, there should be a hand washing facility available before a high risk clothing is handled. The high risk protective clothing and footwear should be color coded for easily identification and it should not be used by elsewhere on the site. And the change to general clothing and footwear should be occur whenever a person leave the designated high-risk areas. These supervision should apply to all the personnel entering the designated high-risk areas, including the engineering staff, management, and the visitors. So this is all about the precaution that we have to take in when we work inside the high-risk food areas, or you can say that this is all about the management plan. I hope you will understand. But if you have any query related to this topic, you can ask me in a comment box. Or for a further detail, you can follow the ITLS Academy on different platforms, that is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, WhatsApp, and LinkedIn. And subscribe our channel ITLS Academy on YouTube and get our app from a Google Play. Or you can also ask your query to the helpline number that are already mentioned in your slide. That is 7080833450, and visit our website www.itlsacademy.com. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel.